Once again, I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this is Horror News Radio, the official Gruesome Magazine podcast. Back with me again this week are the scariest, goriest, bloodiest co-hosts on the net. And by that, I mean Dave Dreher, leading writer at Gruesome Magazine. Dave, how you doing?
Hey. Look at me in my pretty blue shirt. Don't you love my pretty blue shirt?
It is bright blue.
It is very blue. I had no idea I was this blue.
There's a song in there. There's a song in there somewhere. Well, it's just the two of us, but I'm still very happy to be talking about this movie. We are going to be reviewing Paranormal Activity, Next of Kin. For those who do not know, I champion found footage films. I love found footage films. They're my thing, and Paranormal Activity is the one I really. There's only one out of the first 6 that I didn't like. So that says something, right? That says something. I don't know if it says anything good, but it does say something. But I'm very excited to be talking about Next of Kin. Before we get into all that, and because I just gave my whole backstory with loving found footage. Are you a found footage fan, and do you like the Paranormal Activity films? I'm
a fair weather found footage fan. Boy, say that 10 times fast. Fair weather found footage fan. When it's good, I like it. Unfortunately, in my camp, there's been more bad ones than good ones. but Paranormal Activity, it started a craze, right? It started you got to give it its due for what it did for the genre. Oren Peli, he created a whole new subgenre, right?
Yeah, and helped launch Blumhouse or Bloomhouse.
Yep.
Blumhouse.
However you want to say it.
Blumhouse.
So yeah, mad props there for that. And I'm not in your camp where if automatically it's found footage, I love it. But I think
to be fair, I have.
Well, come on. You liked Area 51. Come on.
Well,
we gotta go back to that. Our history is long, Doc.
Oh my God, you remember that stain on my. Yes, I did. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our first impressions of Paranormal Activity Next of Kin. It will be spoiler free, and then we're going to dive into a discussion, which we are going to go into spoilers. We probably won't go into spoilers as much as usual because this review will be coming out before the film airs, so we'll be reeling it back a bit, and then we're going to wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Oh boy. There's some doozies in here. All right. Before we do that, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others that we have on the site. And if you like them and would like to help us out, it's easy and free to do. Hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the like button. Share with a friend. It all does wonders. Easy, pleasy, lemon squeezy, and all that kind of stuff. As they say. I don't know where I'm going with that. But most of all, leave us a comment down below when you see this, because you're going to, and let us know what you think. All right. What film were we talking about? Paranormal Activity Next of Kin 2021 from Blumhouse. Damn it. Available streaming on Paramount Plus beginning October 29th, 2021. Yes, this is going straight to streaming. And you know what? I think I'm okay with that. Synopsis is the film follows a young woman trying to discover what happened to her mother who disappeared years ago until she discovers a terrifying truth about her mother's past. And that's fairly accurate. Directed by William Eubank, written by Christopher Landon. The cast includes Emily Bader, Roland Buck III, Dan Lippert, Henry Ayres-Brown, and Tom Nowicki. Why I can't even say, well, never mind. It doesn't matter. William Eubank, before we get into this, of course, directed Underwater a year or so back, and we absolutely loved that. And of course, Christopher Landon has made quite the name for himself after doing a few of the original Paranormal Activities, writing a few, directing one. But Freaky and Happy Death Day to You, right? Has definitely put his name on the minds of every horror fan out there, because he's made he has a really good sense of making a film. So he wrote this, so it'd be interesting to see what we think of that. That was more than I thought I was going to say about all that. All right, let's dive into this. And Dave, I want you to go first, sir, and we won't go real large, but what was your first impression of Paranormal Activity Next of Kin?
Well, I think as I've already established, I went into this a little skeptical. I wasn't sure we needed a seventh installment in the paranormal activity world, but boy, was I wrong. This movie was great. I love this movie. Uh, I know we don't want to get into too much because there's a lot. We could spoil the shit out of this movie. And I don't think we want to do that because part of the fun is being along for the journey. And this is such a well-written script. I mean, I fell into this woman's story like immediate from the minute they're sitting in the Denny's waiting for the nephew or whatever he is to show up. Like right away, I was like completely wrapped up into her journey of where she was trying to go. And man, this thing just gets batshit crazy. I mean, and when you think it can't get any crazier, it like notches it up a little bit more. So I really liked it. Eubanks, is that his name? Eubank, the director. Yeah, I mean, this is a second home run in a row as far as I'm concerned. Underwater was great, and this was equally as good, although kind of a different. I don't want to say a different style of storytelling, but this one was a little more character driven, I thought, than Underwater was. I'm not sure how truthful. I haven't seen Underwater in a while. So, but in Underwater, we didn't get a lot of the truly creepy stuff until towards the end of the movie. It was just them, kind of more of an alien type of thing. They were running away from something, but we didn't know what it was.
Right.
Here, the creepy ramps up quick, and then it just gets creepier. And creepier, and creepier.
There's some great creepy scenes in this.
So I just love this. I thought it was great. This was an amazing seventh outing into this world.
Amazing seventh outing. Yes, Paranormal Activity is back, baby. Yeah, it is back. Yeah, this will reignite the series, in my opinion. It certainly does for me. Of the original six, the sixth one's the only one that I did not like. I actually really love the first five. And this one, so one thing I really like is they do step away. This is, it's its own story. It still has the flavor and there is a tiny connection to the original one.
Well, I was going to ask you that because I didn't pick it up. I was a little hesitant to say that in my opening remarks. So right. They've kind of made a standalone story within the PA world. But was there what was the connection, or what is the connection?
Well, I can't say because it'd be spoilers.
Oh, okay. Well, when we get off air, you have to let me know what it was. It went over my head. I missed it.
Okay, it's not that difficult. But so it's. This does everything right as far as found footage. It also takes some liberties, and the liberties I did not mind. Some people, if they're purist, might say that shot couldn't have happened, but I don't care. I like it when they do that. And of course,
I don't care.
There's also that has a soundtrack at times, so it shouldn't have that as well. But at the same time, I don't care. It certainly has. The camera thing, and there's a couple of interesting techniques that they throw in there. We'll talk about more of that in the spoiler section. But you're right. At the core of it are these three main characters, and there's actually a plot here. They are trying to solve a mystery about her mother, and that's in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler. But it's just really fascinating. It brings them into this world that they don't know much about, and they're learning about it, and it's foreign to, I would say, most Americans, this kind of lifestyle. And it really, so it's kind of they're kind of fish out of water in a way in that respect. And then there's this kind of creepy supernatural thingy going around the whole scenario. So the deeper it gets into it, the more everything gets entwined. There's twists and turns. I mean, they're not extraordinary large, night type twists and turns, but they are solid. I think really solid, and the filmmaking really works in this. I mean, it is solid. It doesn't feel cheap at all. But it doesn't feel like it isn't being recorded either.
Right. It's not overproduced. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not underproduced, right? So a lot of times it's it feels like there's no direction to the actual shots, but this it's really well made in that. And there's some, when it gets down to key elements, it really gets into it and really gets really plays with the fact that they have to set down the camera, and that where they set it down is key to what happens and stuff. And so
they did pay good attention to the continuity.
They worked it out
for the most part.
For the most part, they worked it out. Yeah, if you want to nitpick, you're going to be able to
nitpick. Yeah.
That's good for all found footage films. But at the same time, it was tense. It has a couple of red herrings or cats out of the refrigerator kind of scares. But at the same time, it has some really tense, frightening scenes. There's a scene we'll get into it with a bed that I thought was really tense. There's whenever they get near the church, it goes bonkers.
Yeah.
And it
always stay away from the creepy church and
don't go if the church is locked up.
You're in the woods and all of a sudden there's a clearing, there's a church. Just stay the hell away.
Yeah. And okay, there's they make stupid decisions and everything, but at the same time it's all driven by this yearning for solving this mystery. So there's this ounce of credibility to it that allows you to just say, okay, that happened. I really loved it, and I now am looking forward to this becoming an annual thing again, please. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this coming out every year. But yeah, so obviously
this could be the new Saw kind of thing. Remember how Saw was doing that?
This replaced Saw after Saw was done, and this was out for every year there for a short bit, and then they stopped. But so I was an easy target, granted, but I did really enjoy this. It absolutely satisfied everything I wanted out of it. And then of course you were coming in skeptical in it, and it
they could have released this one theatrical. I mean, I'm glad they did it the streaming way. It's on Paramount Plus, but I think this would have played well with a theater with a bunch of people. I think it would have been a load of fun.
I think so. I think if if it wasn't for COVID and what's happening right now, I think it would have been to the theaters.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's still not worthy.
Not at all.
I hope it doesn't get ignored because it's on Paramount Plus, right? So,
yeah, I don't know how many people. I don't know what their subscription rate is. I don't know. I mean, I have it, but I'm one of these idiots that get every one that comes out. New streaming service, gotta have it. Yeah. But this was good. I really enjoyed it. I think they read it, and Doc, if I don't think I'm being spoilery, so if I am,
well, why don't we just go ahead and jump into spoilery section? So
we'll keep it light spoilers.
Light spoilers. We're not going to spoil the heavy twists and stuff, but we will talk about a few key scenes. So
yeah, well, I think when they wrote this, they did a fantastic job by making it the fact that they're going to an Amish community. Because Amish just has an air of secrecy about them for whatever reason, and in this they really play up to that fact, the secrecy and the quietness and the calmness. It's all just creepy. I in my storied chef career, I actually worked about 4 or 5 years in an Amish community as a chef of a hotel, and I had Amish folks who worked for me, and spent a lot of time amongst them, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. But they are very secretive. They have their own ways of doing things. And I thought they did a great job of portraying that community, but turning the creep factor to a whole different level, because of it. And then and I won't go with where it goes, but when we get the twist, it's like, holy shit, it's like, I thought that was great. I thought that was just brilliant writing. I did not see that coming. And it blew me away when it happened.
Yeah, and that came on top of a twist that happened previously, which you knew was going to come, but this twists a little bit further, and then it twists again. I really like the environment of it, and we're taking it out of what we expect, which has been typically the Southern SoCal homes, right? So this feels it feels a little bit more foreign, but yet it still feels visually connected to the other films. but there's only really one connection. But man. So we have our three characters. We have, let's get their names, shall we? Let's see if they even say their names. I guess they won't, will they?
Well, you got the girl, and then there's the sound guy.
Yeah.
And who's the third one?
That's the thing about it. You don't remember the names, but you got. I think her name was Megan. I'll just call her Megan for the sake of this film, for this podcast. But you have the lead, and she's the one that's trying to find out. She was adopted. She learned that that her mom was part of this. Her mother was part of this this community, and she was able to connect with this one boy who had recently left the community. So she wanted to dig into it, and she has her boyfriend who is a filmmaker, so they're going to make a documentary about it. And then they have a cameraman who's coming along as well, our sound man, and he's like this 6'5" stoner doofus kind of guy. Really a great character. Provides some of the comedic relief, but also really is a likable. I mean, they all end up being likable characters, but they take such advantage of this group of family. They sneak around the house. They go in the rooms they shouldn't go in. They don't care anything about their privacy. And I was like, whatever happens, you ask for it. You should have stayed out of that room. But it's amazing in that respect. But there's some creepy stuff that happens. The usual stuff, at night you hear sounds and it leads you to a certain place, and then something happens in there. All that kind of stuff. And then I guess instead of the witches, we have, whatever's happening with this community.
Yeah. And they kind of keep you on edge because, again, it's a paranormal activity movie, so you're not really sure. I mean, all the sounds and the creaks and the groans and the walking around, you don't know what it is. And they don't reveal it until, the last 20 minutes of the movie?
Yeah, really big time.
Where you really get into, I mean, the things start getting kind of creepy or freaky when they find the church, and then, it ratchets up. They kind of take it in a different direction, I think, for the paranormal activity
I think
franchise.
They do too. I mean, they're in the house for a good part of the film. They discover this, discover that. They go up to the attic, to the room, and then the room behind the room. One of those things kind of happen.
Yeah.
No spoilers there. I mean, small spoilers, but you expect something like that. And that is almost stereotypical to this franchise. But then, like you said, they go out to the church and they find they go out in the woods and they find the clearing with the church. And then inside the church, they find more stuff, and then more stuff on top of that. And they're smart and dumb characters, because they're smart enough to know how to find things, but they're dumb and putting themselves in such jeopardy. I mean, okay, so you saw in the trailer, if you watch the trailer, they find basically a well, and you're not going to don't go down in the well. Of course, what do? Down in the well. But, that's the story, so you're going to. But, hey, she's got drive. She's got, balls. She does it, and it turns out to be quite entertaining.
It does, and you care about her too. So I mean, that's part of the reason it's so frantic for you, because you actually care for this girl, and her boyfriend and the cameraman guy. You really kind of you want to see them get out of the situation.
Yeah, I think you care for the couple, and then the cameraman he just wins you over being such a doofus, right? He literally is like this big stoner doofus. Okay, so at one point he's got this long hair, and he says, "Go ahead, give me a haircut." So he gets the typical haircut,
Amish bowl cut, yes,
that you would see, and then he even puts on the suit and everything, and like the old grandma comes out and goes, "Suit you." And I don't know. I kind of dug him for that. He didn't care. He was fine with it, and he was ready to go though. He was ready to get out of there.
When the shit hit the fan, he was ready to move.
Let's go.
He wasn't going to screw around. But yeah, overall they did a great job of building these characters. They did a great job of keeping you on your toes, because you just never know what's coming next. I mean, you just don't. It's that simple. They do it through sound design. They do it through visual ways. It just comes at you from every avenue possible. They're just hitting you with this shit. And even the seasoned people like ourselves who've seen 8 billion scary movies, I found myself on edge, and I love that.
There's two distinct times that I was on edge, yes, at least. Yeah, you probably know which two I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Don't spoil them. They're both spoilers. Don't do it.
I'm not going to spoil either one. But there is some graphic effects in this, which is a bit unique for this because you usually never saw
no blood sportage.
Right. And there are a couple of gory effects in here. One that plays really heavily to this air quotes gimmick that they introduced into this with the slow-mo, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, it worked really well, I thought.
Yes, that was a great scene.
It was very effective.
Well, there's a couple of them, but there's one that's really effective. But there's at least 3 really gruesome shots in this movie.
Ramping up the fall's another one. That was I think you remember. You know what I'm talking about. With
yes,
the fall.
I do.
that one was particularly.
We really don't need to say anymore, but
we visit that one a couple different times, and it's equally as grotesque each time we see it. So.
Yeah, and then I guess after what I was talking about with the slow-mo, there's a whole gaggle of it. Just keeps kind of nonstop all around, right? So let's just say there's a lot of feces and a lot of fans, and they're this flying left and right. And it's awesome. And and when it happens, it's been foretold, and that was what I loved about it. The foreshadowing in this movie is particularly good.
Yeah. Good job. It's a good movie. It could be. It honestly didn't really even need to be a Paranormal Activity movie. Quite frankly, it could have been a standalone tale.
Yeah.
I other than this tie-in that you say exists that I missed. So maybe that wouldn't be true, but
maybe not. I'm not really sure. We'll get into it and figure it out after the show.
After the show,
maybe I'm reaching, but yeah. Anyway. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts, our score 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. Dave, start us off.
Well, I think I've established that I liked this quite a bit. It really kind of took me by surprise how much I liked it. I'll actually be watching it as part of probably the Halloween viewing because it starts streaming on the 29th, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, 29th, I think. So, and I'm curious about the accompanying documentary that is supposed to be released at the same time. So that might be kind of fun too. Yeah. By all means, if you have Paramount Plus, get this. It's definitely worthy of the 30-day free trial. If you don't already have it, I would get it for this for sure. And I think Paramount Plus is pretty cheap. I think it's only $5 or something. So come on, just cough up to $5. You'll live. One less latte.
A month.
A month. Let's see. Favorite scene. There's some of the good ones are spoilery, so I don't want to go there. But the one with this isn't spoilery at all. I'm going to. You'll know it when you see it, Doc. You're going to know it right away. But I'm going to say the fire scene.
Okay.
I just thought that was really visually stunning. I mean, coming out of what we come out of, to walk into that apocalyptic looking scene, because it really is. I mean, fucking everything's on fire. People are on fire. The house is on fire. The trees are on fire. The grass is on fire, and just her reaction to all that. I mean, it was sensory overload for me as a viewer, and you kind of felt her sensory overload of having just come out of what she came out of, and now walking into this. And it's I just thought it was a very striking scene. And I'm gonna give this a 4.5 out of 5. I really love this movie. Nice. I love this movie a lot. This one could end up in the top 10.
It's come on, it is going to be in the top 10 for me.
Probably. I don't know. We've had and there's some good stuff coming up. But I'm gonna say I'm not gonna say it definitely will be, but it's definitely going to be up there.
It's a candidate.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You only got a little over 2 months left. So, but there's a couple of heavy hitters.
There's some big hitters coming up.
Yeah, something hunting ghost or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that, and something about a Wendigo that some guy named Toro had something to do with. I don't know.
Oh man,
what is it? It's not a Wendigo. It's a Wendigo.
Wendigo.
Yes, I put the pronunciation wrong.
All right, so I of course love this movie. This was my jam. If you have listened to our show, you know, you probably could have said, yeah, Doc's going to love this. And you're right. I did. But it's really well directed. It's really well written. The characters you care for. It has a little bit more oomph to it, and actual storytelling than, you know, most found footage films have. You know, it's got some thought behind it. You know, Christopher Landon has definitely grown as both a writer and a director, but here he's writing, you know, since he did some of the original ones, so you can see it here, and it still has the flavor and the tone. So he knows how to handle this material, and William Eubanks really did a fantastic job squaring it all together. And
second time in a row.
Yeah.
This guy might be a keeper.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to give it a 4.75.
I'd worthy of that.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 4.75. It's going to be hard to knock this off my top 10 list. I might have to like knock off 5s to put this on the list, because this definitely got to be on my list, because it really, I was afraid it was going to be a stinker. Right. The only thing that had me hoping for the best is, you know, the talent behind it, because I like both the writer and the director, and I felt they could do something, and they did. I think they did something really wonderful. So yeah, favorite scene. Well, there's a couple I could go for. They're all kind of great and gory and spoilery, but one that isn't gory but yet I thought was really creepy was the bed scene.
That was a good scene.
I wasn't
quite sure how to explain that one without being spoilery, so I didn't.
Right. So there is something, you know, as you know, you hide under a bed and something happens, and it's really well done, and really, you know, it really gives you the idea of her fear and everything, and I don't know. I was tense during that time. And you know, it was just. It's not really groundbreaking, but it was just really well handled and really well shot and acted, and I really liked it.
There's several scenes like that, really, if you think about it, that are rather common, but just the way they decided to shoot them, and in a lot of cases, the lead up to those scenes, you know, yes. Is what makes that scene work so well. So again, that comes down to the writing, and then ultimately the transcription over to the visual side of that. So it's just good. It's strong, technically strong across the board.
Yeah, and of course, anything that involves the well is absolutely. Whenever you see that thing, you know,
bad things.
Hold on to your seat, because something's going to happen. Bad things are going to happen.
There ain't no water in that well.
No. All right. Well, there you go. That's our review for Paranormal Activity. Next again, who knew we would actually love it? When you get a chance to see it on this Halloween weekend, let us know what you thought of it down in the comments. You can let us know that we're complete idiots. I don't care. But I suspect you're going to love it too.
I would think so.
I think is that too much saying Christopher will like it?
You know what? He's a hard one to call. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We might have to make a bet after the show. All right. Dave, sir, thank you so much for joining me. It was a lot of fun, as we knew it would be.
It was. This was a good time. Thank you, Doc.
All right, let's say good night.
Good night.